Naruto. Opening choice of infinite chakra at the beginning. Chapter 1. The sun sets and the day is about to turn dark. During the war, the worst sufferers are the family members who go to the battlefield to fight. They are always worried that they will receive a report of the death of their loved ones. But during the war, the most common thing is death. No matter what time it is, people will die in battle. In an inconspicuous little house in Konoha village, a young man is lying in the small yard looking at the yellow sky. This world is really not peaceful. Now thinking about it, I suddenly traveled to this place a year ago. It is really magical. It is still a bit hard to accept until now. The boy suddenly sighed and sat up suddenly. The boy's name was Yifei. Just as he said just now, Yifei did not belong to this world, but an accident happened a year ago and he suddenly traveled here. The original owner of the body was a useless person, and his parents died on the battlefield in the previous battle. It was because of this Yifei became an orphan. Yifei stretched out his hand and touched the sky. It's really inexplicable. According to the routine of time travel, there should be a golden finger. But I have been here for a year, and the golden finger I have been looking forward to has never appeared. Yifei looked at the sky and said with mixed feelings. As a senior Naruto fan, he knew what would happen in this world. He knew all the famous battles. If you don't have a certain level of strength, you will definitely not live long, and even if you go to the battlefield, you will only be cannon fodder. Although this period is the late stage of the war, it is still relatively peaceful. So far, I don't know how I survived this year. The amount of chakra in the body is really pitiful. Yifei felt the chakra in his body, then sighed and shook his head. In a year, he also fully understood his current situation. An orphan, without any relatives or friends. Both parents died in the battle. Now she can lie here leisurely because of the pension she received from her parents' death in the battle. Her own strength is poor. In this year, he has tried to increase the amount of chakra in his body. But no matter how he trained, it was useless. In this cruel world, it can really be called a miracle that Yifei can survive until now. I don't have a powerful family, nor a background, let alone a bloodline limit. If I don't rely on myself, there is really no other way. Yifei raised his head to the sky again, forcing a particularly ugly smile. Ding! The God-level selection system is being bound. Binding progress 10%. Binding progress 15%. The long-awaited voice came from the depths of Yifei's soul and penetrated his eardrums. The sudden voice made Yifei a little overwhelmed, but after a moment, a smile appeared on his face. At this time, Yifei was ecstatic. Although the golden finger was late for a year, it still surprised Yifei. I was just worried that if I continued to be a useless person until the nine-tailed fox invaded, I would definitely die. But now it seems that my progress will not stop here. Ha ha. Yifei clenched his fists and said happily. The Third World War was about to end, followed by a relatively peaceful period. After the peace ended, the Nine Tails invaded Konoha. After the golden finger arrived, Yifei also had the capital to survive. Ding! The God-level selection system is successfully bound. The system's voice sounded in Yifei's eardrum, and at the same time, the corners of his mouth gradually rose. Great! I've been waiting for this day for so long. The useless life can finally be over. Yifei clenched his fists and said with great confidence. At this moment, the scenes of being bullied by those people flashed in his mind. Although it has only been a year since he came to this time, Yifei has experienced countless bullying. If it weren't for the fact that Yifei had no chakra in his body, he would not have fallen to this point. In the final analysis, it was the fault of the previous owner of this body. Although we have a system now, we still don't know what it is for. Yifei came back to his senses and suddenly realized this problem. Ding! God-level selection system. As the name suggests, this system allows the host to make choices based on what he wants. Each option has a corresponding reward. Of course, each reward is also random. The voice of the system came from deep in Yifei's mind. Yifei crossed his legs, touched his chin with his hand, frowned slightly and thought about something. Yifei had almost understood the principle of the system. But now the only thing that bothered him was his own chakra. You know, in this world, chakra is the foundation of a person. There is a golden finger, but the reward is still random. This is just a matter of luck. System, This reward should be divided into several times, so what is the probability? Yi Fei said with a smile on his face. The task rewards of this system are very fair, and each level and type of reward is 50 to 50. After hearing this, Yi Fei's face twitched a few times. Shit, 50-50. It's the same as if nothing was said. The explanation just given by the system made Yi Fei jump up in anger. After calming down, Yi Fei slowly returned to the place where he just sat down. This is the only way now, but it's still good after all. Yi Fei smiled and comforted himself. At least it's much better than before. Gurgle. A sound of hunger came out. I was so excited just now that I forgot that I hadn't eaten yet. Yi Fei then realized that it was time for him to eat. As he spoke, Yi Fei had locked the door and walked on the street. Without a great background, powerful skills, or a strong backer, Yi Fei didn't know what he would become in the future. But he firmly believed that the world would definitely revolve around him, because he was the protagonist. Boss, give me a bowl of ramen. Yi Fei came to the Ichiraku ramen restaurant that he had visited before. This ramen restaurant is where Yi Fei would come to eat ramen every day after he traveled here. Soon, a bowl of steaming ramen was served in front of Yi Fei. I'm going to eat. Yi Fei put his hands together, picked up the chopsticks and started eating ramen. After a very delicious ramen, Yi Fei felt like he was reborn. After paying, Yi Fei walked out of the ramen shop with a smile. Comfortable, now I feel like I've reached the peak again. Yi Fei smiled and walked forward. Yamamoto Kamikawa, you're such a hard guy for us to find. I didn't expect to meet you here today. 3 teenagers in black uniforms surrounded a thin boy in the alley. I'm not hiding from you. Yamamoto Yukawa looked evasive and didn't dare to look them in the eye. I haven't seen you for so many days, isn't it time to show some appreciation? A short-haired boy grabbed Yamamoto Kamikawa and said, while rubbing the thumb, index finger and middle finger of his other hand back and forth. Yi Fei looked over in the direction of the voice, and when the 3 people came into his sight, his eyes widened instantly. These 3 people were the ones who had been bullying Yi Fei before. He didn't expect to meet them here today. It's true that enemies often meet on narrow roads. I didn't expect my luck to be so bad today. I just came out and ran into them. At this moment, Yi Fei instinctively retreated and hid in the corner. The 3 people were wearing the same uniform, which was only worn by those who were 1 grade higher than them. Thinking that he had no ability to fight them now, he was about to raise his feet and evacuate this place, when he suddenly heard some words. Please forgive me, I really don't have any money. Please, please. After Yamamoto Kamikawa broke free, he suddenly knelt on the ground and cried. The 3 people laughed when they saw Yamamoto Kamikawa like this. Everyone looked at him as if he was a clown. The 3 people came from different families, but their families had one thing in common, that is, they were from famous families. So no one would bully them at school. Because of this, the 3 of them became the leaders of their grade. Well, if that's the case, we'll give you a chance. The leader, Kogoro, walked up to Yamamoto Kamikawa and stepped on his head. Yamamoto Kamikawa didn't resist at all, his body was still shaking. Okay. Kogoro was extremely satisfied after seeing Yamamoto Kamikawa's appearance, and then he turned around with his feet. Yi Fei saw everything that happened just now. At that moment, everything that happened in the past year came to his mind. Yi Fei gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. He wanted to rush forward very much, but he calmed himself down. After all, he didn't have that kind of strength now. Moreover, these 3 people were born in famous families, and their strength should not be underestimated. Option A. Rush over, taunt the 3 of them with words, and give them an international hand gesture. Completion reward: infinite chakra. Option B. Indifferent, pretend you didn't see anything, know nothing. Walk away carefully. Completion reward: randomly assign skill points +1. Just when Yi Fei couldn't make up his mind, he suddenly remembered the voice of the system. Then he saw these 2 options in his mind. Although he didn't have any expression on his face, he was already very happy in his heart. I didn't expect that the first task after getting the golden finger would be like this. Is there any need to think about it? I am a very righteous person. Yi Fei thought silently in his heart while looking at the reward of the option. Then, Yi Fei chose option A. After all, he was a righteous person. It has been a year, and it is time to fight back. If you are always weak and don't resist, those who bully you will become more and more aggressive. After Yi Fei made his choice, he ran behind them at his fastest speed. Hey, you three idiots, you are all losers. While speaking, he did not forget to stretch out his right hand and gave them a middle finger. It was indeed an internationally accepted gesture. The three people heard Yi Fei's words and also saw Yi Fei's internationally accepted gesture. Brother, isn't this that piece of trash? You've had enough of living. The short-haired boy next to him cursed. Kogoro was indeed frightened by Yi Fei's sudden appearance, but even so, he did not take his foot off Yamamoto Kamikawa's head. After all, in his eyes, both of them were complete wastes. Yi Fei looked at the three of them without any fear. But it was because of this that one of them became suspicious. Kogoro was not someone who could stand such anger, so he rolled up his sleeves and wanted to beat Yi Fei up. As soon as he raised his foot, he suddenly found himself being grabbed by the person behind him. What are you doing, Tianyi? Kogoro turned and looked at the well-mannered younger brother wearing glasses and said. Fifth brother, please don't act rashly. I'm afraid this time it will be different from before. Judging from his appearance, he might be well prepared this time. Now we don't know what he is up to. Tianyi adjusted his glasses with his hand and said in a low voice. Xiao Guro heard it and frowned at Yi Fei. This time was indeed different from the past. Yi Fei was not afraid at all, but there was a kind of aura around him. Shit, Kogoro cursed at Yi Fei, who was different from before. Yi Fei was very happy when he saw the three of them. You know, he only has one system now. He has no strength to compete with them. I didn't expect it would be so easy to subdue them. It seems that the bet was right. Yi Fei thought with a smile. At this time, Kogoro also took his foot off Yamamoto Kamikawa's head. Remember this, you will be in trouble in the future. Kogoro walked to Yi Fei's side in a rage and said to him. Then he shook his sleeves and strode forward. The two younger brothers followed closely behind him. Yi Fei breathed a sigh of relief after confirming that they had left. Ding, mission completed, infinite chakra is merging. At this time, the system's voice was recalled in Yi Fei's mind. In his mind, he also saw the infinite chakra being unlocked. Very good, I didn't expect this task to be so simple. But anyway, it should be considered a great gift package for beginners. Yi Fei's face was expressionless at this time, but his heart was already in turmoil. He came to his senses, looked at Yamamoto Kamikawa who stood up staggeringly in front of him, and then walked forward. How is it? Do you want to go to the hospital? Yi Fei held Yamamoto Kamikawa and asked. Yamamoto Kamikawa shook his head weakly. It's fine. Thank you. After a few simple words, the two of them supported each other and came to the side of the road, where they found a place to sit down. Option A. Become friends with Yamamoto Kamikawa, quest reward, clone technique. Option B. Learn about Yamamoto Kamikawa, mission reward, wind style, wind blade. Just when Yi Fei sat down, he heard the system's voice again. After reading the options, Yi Fei was also very confused. Both rewards were good, and it was still very difficult to make a choice. After struggling for a while, he finally chose option B. After all, he didn't have an offensive ninjutsu now. Thank you, my name is Yamamoto Kamikawa. If it weren't for you today, I would be in trouble. Yamamoto Shengchuan turned his head to look at Yi Fei, then said with an innocent smile. It's okay, I just couldn't bear to see them do this, so I helped them. My name is Yi Fei, nice to meet you. In this way, the two of them sat here and chatted for a while. Yi Fei also learned some basic information about Yamamoto Shengchuan through chatting. Mission accomplished, wind style, wind blade is being integrated. After saying goodbye to Yamamoto Kamikawa, Yi Fei found a deserted place and sat down. When saying goodbye, the system had told him that the two rewards had been integrated with him. He turned around and found that there was no one else, and then felt the endless chakra in his body. This was the first time Yi Fei felt that he could do it. After returning home, Yi Fei had a simple meal and came to the yard. It's still early. According to the time, the Third Ninja World War is almost over. The time will come for the Nine Tails to invade Konoha soon. Yi Fei sat in his yard and whispered while looking at the sky. He had been worried about whether he could survive this period. But now it seems that there is no need to worry anymore. Suddenly I remembered that I haven't tested the reward I got today. I was always worried that I didn't have enough chakra in my body. Yi Fei stood up, and then looked at his palms and suddenly clenched his fists. He found a few wooden stakes at home and placed them in the yard. Before, because he didn't have enough chakra, he had never been able to practice ninjutsu. But it didn't mean that he hadn't trained. He had been doing hard physical training every day for a year. This also gave him the super strong body he has now. Wind style, wind blade. Yi Fei stood still, calmed down, and then stretched his hands forward. Chakra instantly gathered around his hands. Soon, a rapidly rotating wind appeared around his hands. Is it so handsome? Yi Fei was surprised to see the high-speed wind spinning around his hands. After coming to this world for a year, this was the first time he experienced endless energy. After a moment of surprise, his eyes were directly locked on the wooden stake in front of him. When the distance was very close, he used his hands to instantly make a cross. Snap! The wooden stake in front of him was instantly broken into 4 pieces, and the blade was very smooth. Wow, it's really cool. Yi Fei looked at the high-speed wind spinning around his hands, and then smiled. I didn't expect to be so proficient after absorbing it. It seems that I don't have to worry about learning ninjutsu after I get it. There is no need to learn the rewards after absorbing them. After absorbing them, the proficiency has reached the maximum level. This also surprised Yi Fei. After packing up these things, he came to the room. Today was a day that he gained a lot, and soon he lay on the bed, carefully recalling what happened today. Then, he slowly fell asleep. The next day, today was the first day of his school. Since the Third Ninja World War has come to an end, the date of school has been set. This year is Yi Fei's last year of school. Because his strength was very ordinary before, there was no way for him to graduate early. But the situation now is very different from before. Comfortable. I feel full of energy. This feeling is really the best. I got up, washed, and made some breakfast. Then I took out my equipment and study materials and walked out of the house. Today is the first day of school. Many students, accompanied by their parents, slowly walked into the school. But Yi Fei is a little different. No matter what time it is, he can only be alone. It's really a hard life. I didn't expect to come to this world and become an orphan. Yi Fei shook his head helplessly and walked into the school. As soon as he entered the school, he saw a notice on the notice board. Due to this sudden incident, the school has decided to adjust each class. Please find your corresponding class and register. What's the difference between this and going to school again? Yi Fei complained, then found the class corresponding to his name on the list. He shrugged and walked slowly towards the corresponding class. Click. There was a sound of pushing the door, and Yi Fei found his class 3. He opened the door and looked around, then his mouth opened slightly. After the class division this time, the people inside really surprised him. Class 3 is the class Yi Fei is in now. There are almost no classmates left. After Yi Fei opened the door, everyone in the class turned their attention to him. But then most people continued to do their own things. Only a few people's eyes were still fixed on Yi Fei. I can't be so unlucky. I was assigned to the same class with the 3 of them. There will inevitably be some fighting next. Yi Fei saw the 3 familiar faces and felt a little unbelievable. Xiao Wulong and his 2 younger brothers were assigned to the 3rd class. Yo, look who's here. I didn't expect that we are destined to meet. Kogoro jumped down from the desk and looked at Yi Fei. The 2 younger brothers also stood up. Yi Fei ignored them and found a corner to put down his backpack. He let them bully him before because he had no strength. Now Yi Fei didn't take them seriously at all. Option A. Beat up Kogoro. Completion reward. Overlord Haki. Option B. Continue to escape. Completion reward. 1 exquisite shuriken. Option C. Kowtow and admit defeat. Completion reward. Title of the first person to admit defeat. After reading the 3 options, Yi Fei's mouth twitched a few times. The first 2 options are understandable, but what the hell is this option C? Yi Fei didn't even have to think about it and chose option A directly. In comparison, only option A was very tempting. Yi Fei also knew what the Conqueror's haki was. As an old second-dimensional person, it was impossible for him not to know that this was the man who was going to become the Pirate King. When Kogoro and the other two saw that Yi Fei did not respond, they instantly became angry and walked towards him in big strides. Now let's settle the old and new accounts together. Kogoro was extremely arrogant with his superior conditions. Yi Fei also felt that the three of them wanted to make trouble for him at this time. At this time, other people in the class were discussing. It seems that the new kid is guilty. I really don't know how he offended the little bully. Forget it, let's be honest. Yi Fei stood in place and heard the chaotic noises around him. Xiao Guro came to Yi Fei, stretched out his hand, and instantly pulled up Yi Fei's collar. Compared with before, the three of them didn't say nonsense this time. Knowing that this opportunity was rare, they came up and started punching and kicking Yi Fei. Yi Fei, as a person whose mental age was much older than them, remained calm in this situation. Although his body was being beaten, he still found an opportunity to knock Xiao Guro to the ground. This counterattack was unexpected by everyone in the class. Although he was injured a lot, it didn't make Xiao Guro feel much better. This kid is crazy today. Pull him away, and go quickly. Xiao Wulong didn't expect Yi Fei to resist, which made him a little panicked. After all, he was the one who was hurt the most. After a year of training, Yi Fei's strength had long surpassed his peers, and his ability to withstand blows was much stronger than his peers. The two younger brothers finally pulled Yi Fei away, and then dragged Xiao Wulong out of the classroom. Yi Fei looked at the three people who fled in panic, and the corners of his mouth rose. Although his eyes and face were slightly swollen now, he was still very happy. If you don't resist, you will always be bullied. This sentence is really true. Yi Fei slowly sat on the chair. On the surface, there was no change, but in his heart he was already very happy. Mission accomplished, Overlord Haki begins to merge. After this counterattack, Yi Fei also became the focus of the class. The little bully Kogoro has a very strong family background. After all, he is from the Uchiha clan. But Yi Fei is not afraid of these at all. Now all he needs to do is to seize the time to improve his strength. Class has started, roll call begins, everyone be quiet. The teacher came in with the roll call book. All the students in the class have returned to their seats, waiting for the teacher to call the roll. Yi Fei looked at the teacher on the podium and frowned slightly. I don't know him. It seems a new teacher has joined. It's no wonder. After all, many people died in the Third War. Yi Fei held his face with his hands and looked at the teacher on the podium. Yamamura Ichiro, arrive. Makino Yoshido, arrive. Uchiha Itachi, here. Hearing this name, Yi Fei suddenly became alert. This name was like a god to him. Then, his eyes instantly locked on a young man. He had black hair, fine nasolabial folds and a unique family emblem with a ping-pong ball on his clothes. It was Uchiha Itachi, for sure. Oh my god, I didn't expect to be in the same class with Itachi this time. Oh, god Itachi, that's not right. Itachi doesn't seem to be in school at this age. But why are we in school now? Yi Fei didn't understand what was going on for a moment, but it was obviously not very important. After all, he had traveled through time, so what was impossible? In a blink of an eye, the teacher had called all the students in the class. Except for the three who had just run away, the rest were all in the class. Looking at all the students, the teacher nodded gently. Next, follow me to the playground for testing. This will determine your grouping. Gather in 5 minutes. After saying that, the teacher walked out of the classroom with the roll call book. As soon as the teacher's feet disappeared, the class exploded in an instant. Test. This is bad. I just played at home during the holidays and did not train at all. Me too. It's terrible, it's terrible. Several people hugged each other and were about to cry. The girls were relatively nice, but some of them had already started to say who they wanted to be in a group with. Most of them wanted to be in a group with Uchiha Itachi. After all, handsome guys attract girls. Uchiha Itachi packed his things and walked out of the classroom. The girls immediately stood up and ran out with him. These brainless creatures really can't leave when they see a handsome guy. I'll take the time to go too. Being assigned to the same class as Itachi is much more interesting now. What interesting things can happen when a genius and a cheater are together. Yi Fei walked slowly in the corridor with his things. One is a cheater who traveled through time and space, and the other is a genius of this period. There is bound to be a competition between the two. On the playground, the teacher has been waiting for a long time, and the students have all arrived one after another. Very good, now let me introduce myself. Takumura Kurasuke is my name, Chunin. From now on, I will be your main teacher. There are 2 items to test, one is basic skills and the other is physical fitness. Takumura Kurasuke put his hands behind his back and looked at the students in front of him. After listening, everyone started talking in a low voice. Many people did not practice at home, which caused some basic skills to be a little rusty. Yi Fei looked at the reactions of the crowd and probably guessed 1 or 2. Option A. Show off your skills in front of everyone and get rid of the last place. Completion reward. Win style, beast palm. Option B. Hide your strength and survive to the end. Completion reward. +1 to any mastery. Option C. Pretend to have a stomachache, run to the toilet, and avoid the test. Completion reward. Get the title of Toilet King. Looking at these options, Yi Fei smiled. It was obvious what to choose. The opening test begins now. Yi Fei is ranked 16th according to the class number. For the next period of time, he quietly watched other students take the test. I really didn't expect that their abilities were so ordinary. It's no wonder that they spend too much time at home. Most of them play freely and have no time to train. Yi Fei shook his head as he looked at the students who were taking the test. This result was also within his expectations. The teacher looked at each student who was taking the test and his expression became more serious. After all, he had never met these students. But after this test, he had some understanding of these students. He usually commented on these students as ordinary. What should I do? I always feel that we will be the last one in line. Don't worry, there is another student who is the last in our class. He's a notorious piece of shit. With him, we will definitely not be at the bottom. At this time, several students who were worried about their test results were sitting there and whispering. Their voices reached Yi Fei's ears. Yi Fei just smiled lightly. Now he doesn't care about these mocking words at all. He used to be the last one, but now he may not be the last one. Next, Uchiha Itachi. The teacher looked at the roll call list and said loudly. Yi Fei also became interested at this time. Uchiha Itachi slowly walked to the test site and nodded to the teacher. I hope you won't let me down. The teacher looked at Uchiha Itachi and nodded. As soon as Uchiha Itachi appeared, all the girls in the class focused their attention on him. Some of them were attracted by his background, but most of them were attracted by his appearance. Moreover, no one in the Uchiha clan was weak. Yi Fei stood up slowly and walked to the front. He also wanted to know what kind of strength Uchiha Itachi had now. Begin, the teacher shouted. Uchiha Itachi started his test after hearing the order. Push-ups, crunches, left and right jumps. These were all easy for him, and he completed them easily. And it took very little time. Now his score has ranked first. It's so handsome. Uchiha classmate is really too strong. The girls in the class went crazy at this time. Yi Fei also smiled after seeing Uchiha Itachi's results. As expected of Itachi, even though some accidents happened, he is still so powerful. I'm sorry, but I will still surpass you next time. Yi Fei looked very calm on the surface, but his heart was already surging. Uchiha Itachi created a new record in a very short time. He already ranked first in the class. The second place was not even a little bit behind him. After arriving at the shooting range test point, Uchiha Itachi took out several kunai from his backpack. Target shooting is the most basic. But even so, many students who had been tested before failed. Uchiha Itachi focused his eyes and quickly threw the kunai in his hand. Da. Every kunai hit the target perfectly, right in the middle. After this wave of operations, the whole audience was silent and all shocked. The angles of many targets were very tricky. Uchiha Itachi could also perfectly hit the center of the target in the way he was best at. The teacher also smiled with satisfaction after seeing such a result. Uchiha Itachi, 100 points. Full marks. Awesome. Now Uchiha Itachi is the top of our class. Yes, who can be better than him? After hearing Uchiha Itachi's results, the classmates were instantly excited. Yi Fei was also very confused at this time. Now that Uchiha Itachi has been ranked first, how can he dominate the first place? Uchiha Itachi still walked back with an expressionless face. Well, Uchiha-san has given you a very good start. You all should learn from him. Next, Yi Fei. The teacher looked at his students and said loudly. After hearing the teacher's words, everyone became relatively quiet. It's always my turn. Although I have already scored 100 points, I still want to be the first. Yi Fei simply stretched his muscles and bones, and then came to the test area. Are you ready? The teacher looked at the boy in front of him and said. Yi Fei nodded with a smile. Begin. Yi Fei began his own test after hearing the teacher's order. These basic skills were very easy for him. After all, he had been training these skills before. So fast. Who is this guy? The speed seems to be faster than Uchiha classmate. Yi Fei did not hold back his basic strength at all, and showed it all. It was precisely because of this that everyone in the audience shut their mouths and looked at him quietly. Yi Fei only took a few dozen seconds to complete all these basic tests. After finishing, it was normal to breathe without expression. It's amazing. He finished it in such a short time, and his breathing is no different from usual. The teacher was surprised when he saw Yi Fei's condition. This was the first abnormal student he had seen since he became a teacher. After Yi Fei walked to the shooting area, he moved his wrist. The previous ones were just small matters. The next one was the most important thing. Let's start. Yi Fei took out some weapons from his small backpack. His eyes were fixed on the targets. Although the targets were not very far away, some of them were at very tricky angles. If you are not tired, these are really very difficult. After finding the target, he slowly raised the weapon with both hands. Then, he shook his wrist lightly, and the weapon in his hand flew out. Da! Hit the bull's eye. At this time, the teacher's expression became more serious. Because half of the weapon entered the target. Such power is really incredible for a 7 or 8-year-old child. The teacher was not far away from their audience seats, so many people saw that half of the weapon entered the target. This power is really too powerful. How did he do it? Is this still the last one we know? The few people who were whispering there just now were now speechless with surprise. Uchiha Itachi also became interested and slowly walked to the front to look at the targets. Yi Fei did not pause and fired a few more shots in an instant. The force of each kunai thrown out was stronger and stronger. Even the last target was pierced from the middle. Yi Fei did not make any expression when he saw such a scene, because he had been accustomed to it before. But the mouths of all the students who were watching were opened as wide as possible. After all, such a scene was created by a child of 7 or 8 years old. Now there are only those targets with tricky angles. For him, these are really as simple as a child playing with mud. The field was as quiet as usual, and everyone was concentrating on what Yi Fei would do next. The teacher was also looking forward to how such a child would shoot the target. Uchiha Itachi was a little different from usual. It had been a long time since anyone could make him so interested. Yi Fei counted the last few targets, and then took out the kunai. This time Yi Fei took out 5 kunai, looked at the targets in front of him, and then instantly fired the kunai in his hand. Whoosh, whoosh. The speed of the kunai was very fast, and it was flying forward without any angle. When approaching the target, Yi Fei instantly took out a shuriken from his backpack. He used all his strength to launch the shuriken. The speed was much faster than the previous ones. It took only 1 second for the shuriken to catch up with the kunai in front. Ping pong. The shuriken instantly collided with the kunai, causing them to change their trajectory. The kunai that changed their trajectory all hit the targets. This wave of operations made them open their eyes wide instantly. They couldn't believe that this was the fact. I rely on. This is too outrageous. What on earth is this operation? One of the students couldn't help but shout loudly at this time. Yi Fei clapped his hands and turned around. This is called a technique. Yi Fei looked at the students in front of him and said loudly. The teacher also clapped slowly at this time. Obviously, his operation this time made the whole class have a new understanding of him. Full marks. I didn't expect that I would really find a treasure this time. The teacher said in a low voice very happily. Yi Fei slowly walked back to his seat in the envious eyes of everyone. This success made him get rid of the last place. Although it was just some ordinary basic skills, for these students, it was already a heaven-defying existence. Uchiha Itachi looked at Yi Fei with a very calm expression. But in his heart, he had already determined that this person was an opponent that could not be underestimated. Ding! Mission completed, rewards are being merged. Yi Fei heard the system's voice in his mind. At this time, the test was still going on. There were only a few students who had excellent results. But there was only one first place. After thinking for a while, the teacher decided to have an overtime game. Everyone, be quiet. Considering that there is only one first place, a competition is temporarily added. I guess you all know who these two students are. While the teacher was speaking, he glanced at Yi Fei and Uchiha Itachi. After hearing this news, Yi Fei felt bad. If they were to fight now, he would definitely be at a disadvantage. He didn't have any ninjutsu, and the most important thing was that his opponent was Uchiha Itachi. 10 minutes break, then overtime begins. The rules are simple, everyone has a balloon. Whoever can burst the other party's balloon first wins. The premise is that no weapons can be used. The teacher finally explained the rules of the game to the two of them. Yi Fei was obviously a little flustered. But what is coming must be faced. Ding! Win style. Beast Palm has been integrated. After hearing this news, Yi Fei finally smiled. Although this is only a very ordinary ninjutsu, it is better than nothing. After the teacher left, the others also left slowly. After all, this 10-minute rest time is hard-earned. Uchiha Itachi acted very calmly, but Yi Fei still had some concerns in his heart. 10 minutes passed quickly. All the students returned to the training ground one after another. They were all looking forward to seeing who was stronger between the two. One was a genius from a famous family, and the other was an ordinary boy who had risen from the bottom. It would be very interesting to see these two people fighting each other. The teacher slowly came to the front of the students. Yi Fei, Uchiha Itachi. Arrive, you two come here. Yi Fei saw Uchiha Itachi stand up, and then slowly stood up and came to the teacher. Looking at the two children in front of him, he smiled. The teacher is very optimistic about you two. So when you compete later, don't hurt the other person's life. That's enough. The teacher explained something to the two of them. Yi Fei and Uchiha Itachi nodded gently. After taking some precautions, the two came to the middle of the venue. Let's start. As soon as the words fell, both of them made attacking gestures. Yi Fei knew very well at this time that if he just went hard, it would not work. If he wanted to win, he had to take some measures. In contrast, Uchiha Itachi was very calm. Although Yi Fei's previous performance on the opposite side did surprise him a little, he was more confident in his own strength. Prepare to fail. Uchiha Itachi looked at Yi Fei and said. Yi Fei did not respond to what Uchiha Itachi just said, but just shook his head gently. After seeing that Yi Fei did not speak, he disappeared so far away in an instant. He came in front of Yi Fei in an instant, retracted his right hand, and attacked instantly. Uchiha Itachi's speed was very fast, but Yi Fei was not a vegetarian, and immediately raised his right leg to block. Bang! Uchiha Itachi's right fist hit Yi Fei's right leg. It's so hard, is it stone? Uchiha Itachi clearly felt the pain coming from his right hand. Then he retreated backwards instantly. After seeing his situation, Yi Fei raised the corner of his mouth slightly. I haven't practiced for so long in vain. If there is no confidence, a fool would use his legs to block. Yi Fei slowly put down his legs, then stretched out his palm and made a come-over gesture. The hand that Uchiha Itachi had just attacked has now returned to its original state. Seeing Yi Fei's provocation, he couldn't bear it anymore. Fire style. Great fireball technique. Itachi Uchiha jumped into the air, formed seals with both hands, and spit out a huge fireball from his mouth. Seeing this, Yi Fei immediately took a defensive posture. The fireball flew towards Yi Fei at the fastest speed. Just when it was about to touch him, Yi Fei instantly disappeared from the spot, and then was born next to him, avoiding this attack. That was a close call. Yi Fei's eyes instantly locked onto Uchiha Itachi. Wind style. Beast palm. Chakra quickly gathered between his palms, and he looked at the direction and launched the wind style. Whoosh, whoosh. Uchiha Itachi looked at the wind style and immediately formed a seal. Yi Fei did not think about disappearing instantly at this time, and moved forward towards the back of Uchiha Itachi. This time, the wind style did not use his full strength, so the power was relatively weaker. Uchiha Itachi was ready to meet Yi Fei's attack at this time. But what he did not expect was that when the wind style touched him, it disappeared without a trace. What? Not good. Uchiha Itachi just realized that the attack just now was just a cover. The real attack was not here. Yi Fei was already behind him at this time, and now it was too late to realize it. Yi Fei suddenly appeared behind Uchiha Itachi, clenching his fists and preparing to attack. Uchiha Itachi suddenly turned around, and the two looked into each other's eyes. The attacking hand did not stop, exerting force instantly. Most people could not withstand Yi Fei's fist. The fist was already close at hand, and Uchiha Itachi bent down instantly, and the fist passed through his back. Yi Fei retracted his hand instantly, but at this time Uchiha Itachi's fist had already touched his stomach. Bang! Yi Fei was knocked out by Uchiha Itachi. The fight between the two was very exciting, and the students who were watching on the side also held their breath, for fear that they would accidentally miss some exciting scenes. I was so careless, but fortunately, his strength is not very strong. Yi Fei slowly stood up from the ground, and then patted the dust off his body. Uchiha Itachi was no longer relaxed after the battle just now. Yi Fei looked at Uchiha Itachi's mouth corners slightly raised, and then disappeared from the spot in an instant and came in front of him. So fast. Uchiha Itachi swung his fist out before he could react. This might be muscle memory. Yi Fei was not in a trance, and directly stretched out his hand to hold the wrist of his swung fist. Holding it tightly, his body instantly turned around with his back to Uchiha Itachi. Instantly bent his waist, pushed up, and pulled hard with both hands. Uchiha Itachi broke away from the ground and drew an arc in the air. Bang! An over-the-shoulder fall was perfectly displayed. Although Uchiha Itachi's expression was very painful after he fell to the ground, he was seriously injured. Yi Fei slowly loosened his wrist, and at this time, obvious grip marks appeared on his wrist. Uchiha Itachi wanted to get up and prepare to attack, but Yi Fei's fist had been waiting at his throat for a long time. Give up. Yi Fei looked at Uchiha Itachi with a smile. Although Uchiha Itachi was very unwilling, he was indeed defeated. If this was on the battlefield, he would have died long ago. Competition is over. Yi Fei wins. The teacher looked at the two of them and then said loudly. The students who were watching were silent for a few seconds and then suddenly became noisy. They didn't know who the winner of this battle was. Although Uchiha Itachi was a genius, the strength shown by the opponent should not be underestimated. Yi Fei slowly retracted the fist at his throat, and then stretched out his right hand. And smiled. Although Uchiha Itachi was a person who refused to admit defeat, he now believed that this person was his opponent for the rest of his life. Uchiha Itachi looked at the palm that Yi Fei stretched out, and finally slowly raised his hand and held it together. Yi Fei smiled and pulled up Uchiha Itachi. Nice to meet you, my name is Yi Fei. Please give me more advice in the future. Yi Fei looked at Uchiha Itachi next to him and said with a smile. Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi didn't say much, just said his name, and then walked to the side. Yi Fei was also very clear about his performance. But this time, the bond between the two of them increased a lot. There is a saying that there is no acquaintance without fighting. Yi Fei also successfully attracted Uchiha Itachi's attention. After all, it is incredible that an ordinary boy can have such strength. Now Yi Fei is the first in the class. And in the following time, Yi Fei spent a very boring day. Seeing so many weak students, the teacher finally decided to start the class again. Although it was very boring, what happened today was also very important to him. Today, Yi Fei earned a lot of face and successfully obtained the reward he deserved. After school, he would walk home alone as usual. But at this moment, 3 figures suddenly appeared in front of him. It's really like a dog skin plaster. I can't get rid of these 3 people no matter how hard I try. Looks like we're going to have another fight. Yi Fei shook his head helplessly after seeing the 3 men. It was Kogoro and his 2 companions who were walking towards him. There were many people on the street and it was not easy to fight. Yi Fei knew that the three of them came to him for something, so he just found a shorter path and walked over. Seeing this, Kogoro and the others hurriedly followed. This was like catching a turtle in a jar. Kogoro wanted to take this opportunity to repay the grievances he suffered in class today. After a while, the two of you will put this bag directly on his head. Then don't worry about life or death, just beat him up for me. Kogoro whispered to his two younger brothers behind Yi Fei. The two younger brothers nodded very sensibly. Knowing that their boss was from the Uchiha clan, they didn't have to worry about the aftermath. Yi Fei walked slowly inside with a slight smile on his face. He felt that the fight today was not satisfying at all. Now he planned to teach all three of them a lesson. When the time was right, the two younger brothers instantly quickened their pace and ran to Yi Fei's side. The bag in his hand just passed Yi Fei's head and he noticed that his eyes were very sharp. Yi Fei looked at the two of them with an extremely terrifying look, which scared them so much that they stopped moving completely. Hee, come and play. Yi Fei didn't leave any time for the two of them. He punched them in the abdomen separately with two heavy punches. The expressions of the two little brothers instantly became ferocious, and saliva spurted out. This shows how powerful Yi Fei's fist is. Waste. Xiao Wulong cursed as he watched his two younger brothers fall to the ground. Yi Fei turned around and looked at the two younger brothers who were lying on the ground and twitching non-stop. He clapped his hands. With such strength, they still want to launch a sneak attack. Are you guys the idiots sent by God? Yi Fei looked at them with a smile. He had used almost 60% of his strength in the punch just now, so even if you did that, it was not something that an ordinary person could bear. Kogoro's expression was very ferocious, and he wanted to tear Yi Fei to pieces. Boy, you're done. Kogoro quickened his pace and rushed to Yi Fei, swinging his fist and trying to hit him. Yi Fei's current strength is not to be trifled with. After such a long period of training, Kogoro's movements were as slow as a snail. He bent down and easily dodged a heavy punch. While bending down, he retracted his right fist and hit hard again. Bang! Kogoro's stomach instantly vomited backwards, and saliva spurted out with pain. Yi Fei was afraid that the saliva would stain his clothes, so he instantly took a few steps back. This punch directly knocked Kogoro to his knees, holding his stomach in pain. Shit. Kogoro squeezed out these two words with great effort. Yi Fei looked at the three people lying on the ground and smiled softly. Although they had all been beaten to the ground, it was not over yet. After all, they had been humiliated for a year. If he simply let them off like this, they would not learn their lesson. Yi Fei stood there without moving. If he beat up the three of them now, he would not feel any sense of accomplishment. If he wanted to beat them into submission, he had to inflict real damage. After a period of recovery, the two younger brothers were able to stand up slowly. They did not expect that this would change so quickly. But now they did not think too much, they just wanted to get back their lost face. Boy, you're done. Let's go together, the short-haired boy said loudly to his partner. The two of them had great tacit understanding at this time. They took out their weapons from their backpacks at the same time and prepared for the attack. Yi Fei looked at the two of them in such a mess and couldn't help but smile. Don't think you can hurt me with a weapon. Now I am not someone who can be bullied, Yi Fei said with a smile after stretching his muscles. The two looked at each other and nodded, then quickened their pace and rushed forward at the same time. They were still smart and did not attack unilaterally. Instead, they chose to attack from both sides. Although these fancy tricks were useless to Yi Fei also wanted to have a good time with them. Use force and thrust. The weapons in the hands of the two people stabbed Yi Fei almost at the same time. The cold weapons gradually approached Yi Fei's body. But just when they were about to touch, they would suddenly disappear from the spot. The two people were stunned for a moment and had no idea what was going on. Very good, the two of them stopped in time and did not hurt each other's lives. Yi Fei appeared behind one of them again. I'll start with you. Yi Fei hugged the man's waist with his hands, and then lifted him up. The whole man was lifted into the air by Yi Fei. After getting ready, he instantly bent backwards and slammed the man to the ground. Bang! The unlucky people are often the luckiest. The fall by Yi Fei directly broke the spine at the neck. But because the force was not very strong, there was no danger to life. Yi Fei stood up slowly, and then looked at the little follower who was lying on the ground, twitching. I'm still showing mercy. If this happened on the battlefield, he would have died long ago. Yi Fei turned his head again and looked at the other buzz cut guy. This guy didn't panic because of what happened just now. He looked for a good opportunity to speed up again, and the weapon in his hand was still swinging in the air. Yi Fei quickly swung his body in front of the opponent to avoid his attack. The buzz cut guy attacked, but after a while he was out of strength, and none of his attacks were successful. In the end, he was defeated by his physical strength. He half squatted with his hands on his knees and gasped for breath. That won't work. You are such a little trash. Yi Fei clenched his fists and came in front of him, and began to attack crazily. Each punch hit the flesh. 1 punch, 2 punches, 3 punches, 4 punches, 5 punches. The last punch used all his strength to hit the opponent's stomach. The buzz cut man flew 10 meters away because of the last blow. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth. The whole person fell to the ground like a puddle of mud, and his face was full of bruises. The two people also finished their battle, and all ended in failure. Yi Fei moved his arms this time, and there was no injury on his body. Turning his head, he looked at the last enemy who had not been eliminated. At this time, Xiao Wulong also panicked. He had seen the entire battle scene. Yi Fei's strength had not yet been fully demonstrated, and he had reserved some of it. But now the strength that Yi Fei had shown was enough to make Xiao Wu kneel down and beg for mercy. Looking at Xiao Wulong, Yi Fei slowly walked towards him. You, don't come over here. Do you know who my father is? At this time, Xiao Wulong didn't care about the pain in his stomach and kept retreating. Yi Fei suddenly quickened his pace and came in front of him. He reached out and grabbed his collar. Snap! A very loud and crisp sound permeated the entire path. Who is your father? I don't care who your father is. Yi Fei slapped him in the face without fear of anything. Kogoro was a little confused at this time. The pattern on his clothes must be recognized by everyone in Konoha village. But the person in front of him didn't care about these things at all. What era is it in? Why would you move out your father? If your father knew about this, it would be so embarrassing. Pa! Another slap hit the other half of his face. At this time, Kogoro frowned. Boy, you remember this. Pa! He was slapped again just after saying a few words. Yi Fei pouted lightly. What should I remember? Speak up. He slapped her face again. Kogoro was very angry just now, but after seeing Yi Fei's condition, he said nothing more. His angry face instantly turned into a smiling face. Brother Fei, forgive me, please don't bear grudges. Just treat me as a fart. Kogoro said with a smile, and his hands kept making an apology gesture. Yi Fei looked at him and smiled softly. I don't have that idea of letting you go. He stretched out his hand and raised it in the air. Seeing that Yi Fei wanted to continue, Xiao Wulong knelt on the ground. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me, I won't dare to do it again. Kogoro immediately became timid. Although he said so, he didn't think so in his heart. Good boy, just wait for me, I will definitely find another chance. I'll call more people then. What will you do then? Xiao Wulong thought. The reason why Yi Fei did not continue to attack was because he heard the voice of the system. Option A. Release Kogoro, completion reward, teleportation technique. Option B. Make Kogoro kowtow once, and the reward for completing it is, Flying Thunder God technique, without restrictions. Yi Fei was obviously very curious about this option. And the two rewards were also very attractive. But for his persistence, he still chose option B. Yi Fei smiled lightly, and then loosened Kogoro's collar. Okay, in that case, kowtow to me once and then get out of here. Yi Fei clasped his hands in front of his chest and said with a smile. After hearing this, Xiao Guro felt terrible. After all, kowtow to others is very shameful. But when he looked up and saw Yi Fei's expression, he felt that he had to kowtow. The expression on Yi Fei's face seemed to say, if you don't kowtow, don't even think about leaving this place. Xiao Guro glanced at the two younger brothers with his peripheral vision, and after making sure that they were both unconscious, he kowtowed gently on the ground. At this time, his face was already hideous. Now he was thinking about how to take revenge in the future. After all, not everyone can endure such humiliation. It seems that this grudge has been formed with him. I'm sure he'll come back to cause trouble in the future. Yi Fei looked at Kogoro kneeling on the ground, and thought to himself. But thinking about the injustice he had suffered for a year, this time was worth it. Okay, you can get out now. Take your 2 little followers with you. Yi Fei pointed at the 2 unconscious people. Xiao Wulong looked at Yi Fei with anger in his eyes, but also a little unwilling. Finally, he dragged his 2 men out of the alley slowly. Yi Fei looked at their miserable appearance and finally couldn't help but smile. I really didn't expect that being strong enough would allow you to do whatever you want. This feeling is really wonderful. Yi Fei couldn't help but sighed. Ding, mission accomplished, the Flying Thunder God technique is being integrated. After hearing the system's voice, he nodded with satisfaction, then packed up his things and walked out of the alley. This time he had a very powerful shield again. After walking out, he didn't stay on the street for too long, and went straight back to his home. Although no one was waiting for him at home, he still felt that home was the warmest place. When he first came here, he was still a little uncomfortable with no one at home. But after a while, he finally got used to this situation. After returning home, he simply made a meal and ate it, then came to the yard and lay on a chair. This is the most comfortable and relaxing moment of the day. But the comfortable time is always very short. Yi Fei suddenly found a figure standing in a hidden corner of the wall of his house. Although the figure had done enough hiding, he was still discovered. What's the situation? What is this person doing here? Yi Fei was very confused. He was just an ordinary student and had never done anything particularly domineering. It was obvious that this person was coming for him. And with the help of the moonlight, he could clearly see that he was holding a weapon in his hand. It seems that the situation is not good. Yi Fei slowly opened his squinting eyes. Now the enemy did not launch an attack, it was obviously not the right time. It's better to stay still and see what happens. Yi Fei stretched lazily. It's so comfortable, let's take a nap. In order to let the man relax his vigilance, Yi Fei closed his eyes and pretended to be asleep. Time passed by. Seeing that the man had not taken any action, Yi Fei began to snore. After hearing the snoring, the figure on the wall finally made some movements. The figure moved cautiously, trying to find a good place to attack. However, all his movements were seen by Yi Fei. The moon was very bright at night, illuminating the entire yard clearly. After confirming that Yi Fei was completely asleep, the figure slowly jumped to the ground. Instantly came behind Yi Fei. The footsteps were very light, like a cat. It seems that this person is not simple. It's better to be careful. Yi Fei judged that the man was very strong by his footsteps. The figure slowly raised the weapon in his hand and stabbed it downwards quickly. The weapon pierced through Yi Fei's whole body at once. But strangely, no blood flowed out. The figure also felt very strange after seeing this. He slowly raised the weapon in his hand and found that Yi Fei on the chair had disappeared without a trace. At the critical moment, Yi Fei activated the Flying Thunder God technique. The Yi Fei that the figure just stabbed was the afterimage left by him. After the figure realized that it was just an afterimage, he instantly became alert and observed. At night, the breeze was blowing slowly, and the leaves on the ground made a rustling sound as they fluttered in the wind. At this time, the contest between the 2 people officially began. The moon was blocked by a cloud, and the light dimmed instantly. It was a dark and windy night, and it was the right time to kill. Yi Fei suddenly appeared behind the figure with a weapon in hand. He slashed with the sword, wanting to kill with one blow. The figure turned around instantly at this time and blocked Yi Fei's sword with the sword. Bang! The 2 collided and some sparks appeared. Crackling. The 2 stood still and did not move, but their hands were still exerting force. The moon came out from the clouds again, and the light once again illuminated the entire yard. Yi Fei used the moonlight to see the man's outfit. He wore a mask on his face and a black uniform. Who are you? Yi Fei asked. The masked man ignored him and drew his knife to cut from the side. Seeing this, Yi Fei immediately retreated to the side. The masked man's attack missed. But he immediately took action again, leaving no time for Yi Fei to breathe. The 2 people's weapons were fighting desperately. Fire splashed, and the yard was bright and dark. The masked man's attack method was very regular, just like a well-trained soldier. Although he was well trained, every attack was successfully blocked by Yi Fei. So fast, Yi Fei said in surprise while blocking the attack. The masked man raised his knife high and chopped it down heavily. Yi Fei took advantage of this gap and disappeared instantly, avoiding the attack this time. If he continued like this, there would be no chance of winning. This masked man is very powerful, and if he wants to win, he must take some measures. Wind escape beast wave palm. Yi Fei formed seals with his hands and quickly shot out several wind blades from his palms. Facing the oncoming wind blades, the masked man stood calmly in place and formed seals with his hands. Bang! A cloud of smoke dissipated, and two identical masked men appeared. The wind blades instantly killed the two masked clones at this time. Yi Fei took advantage of this opportunity to pick up the weapon in his hand and instantly rushed up to kill with one blow. Swing the knife, thrust. Bang! The tip of Yi Fei's knife pierced into a very hard place. Looking at it with the help of moonlight, the masked man's knife was just blocking in front of him. The tip of Yi Fei's knife really pierced into the masked man's knife. The masked man stretched out his left hand and instantly hit Yi Fei's stomach. Yi Fei couldn't resist and flew out. Puff! A strong smell of blood came out of his mouth. I'm going to kill you. Yi Fei wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and then said angrily. He picked up the weapon that was knocked down beside him, and rushed up at his fastest pace. The masked man also quickened his pace and ran towards Yi Fei. The two men wrestled with each other again. Every move was fatal, leaving no chance for the other to survive. After a period of time, the masked man's physical strength gradually decreased. His strength was not as good as before. After such a long battle, Yi Fei's physical strength was still as good as before. Now he finally felt that he had hope of winning. The masked man already knew that he was obviously at a disadvantage, and he took a hard look, and then retreated to the back. Earth escape rock cannon technique. The masked man pulled open the mask at his mouth and quickly ejected a few small stones. The stones that were fired continued to expand in the air until they were as big as fists. The fist-sized stones attacked Yi Fei. Chapter 11. Earth escape. If you can't dodge, you're done for. Yi Fei thought to himself as he looked at the stones that were like cannonballs. In the blink of an eye, Yi Fei disappeared from the spot and came to the side. Bang, bang, bang. Loud noises were heard. The smoke dissipated, and several obvious large pits appeared on the ground. Yi Fei breathed a sigh of relief. If he hadn't dodged just now, he would have become a meat paste now. The masked man was still a little surprised to see Yi Fei intact. But in a blink of an eye, the masked man once again prepared to seal with both hands, wanting to launch another attack. But Yi Fei didn't think so. He disappeared from the spot and appeared in front of the enemy, picked up his weapon and chopped it up. Because the speed was very fast, the masked man didn't react in time, and his arm was instantly cut with a long wound, and the seal was also interrupted. Just like that, the battle ends in one go. Yi Fei discovered the flaw of the masked man and started a fierce attack. The masked man's arm was injured, and his defense was greatly weakened. Make you awesome. Let you sneak attack. I'll kill you. Yi Fei started to talk nonsense, and the weapon in his hand was causing fatal damage to the masked man. The masked man blocked with one hand, which was not enough. The wounds on his body were gradually increasing. Finally, Yi Fei used force to pick up the weapon in the masked man's hand. He aimed at the right position and stabbed with the knife. The knife stabbed into the masked man's abdomen and turned the weapon around. The masked man made a very painful sound, and blood seeped out of the mask. Yi Fei pulled out the knife fiercely, and the blood was also thrown all over the ground. The masked man covered the wound on his stomach with his hand and fell to the ground. Yi Fei inserted the knife next to the masked man's neck. Tell me, who are you? Why are you here to kill me? Yi Fei put the knife against the masked man's aorta. The masked man snorted and laughed. Then he bit his teeth, his eyes instantly burst into red bloodshot, his pupils slowly dilated, and the hand covering the wound slowly fell to the ground. He committed suicide by taking poison. This time, I really didn't expect it. Yi Fei drew his weapon, stood up, and looked up at the sky. This time, he realized that the current situation was very dangerous. He lowered his head and looked at the body on the ground that was still warm. The masked man's actions must have been directed by someone, and through the battle just now, it was obvious that he was a well-trained soldier. In fact, he could also commit suicide by taking poison in this situation. The homework showed that he had received professional training. It seems that the days ahead will not be peaceful, Yi Fei said while looking at the sky. After sighing for a while, he cleaned up the bodies on the ground. Yi Fei looked at the damage of the injured enemy's weapon and found a special text on it. This pattern, I have never seen it before. The pattern is very simple, a circle formed by 3 snakes. Although it is small, it is still very distinctive. Something to do with snakes. The only Hokage I know of is Orochimaru. Yi Fei sat aside with his weapon and thought. In Konoha, only Orochimaru himself was related to snakes. But now there is no clue, and it cannot be concluded that it is Orochimaru based on a snake pattern. And Yi Fei is just an ordinary person. Orochimaru sent such elite soldiers to deal with him, which is indeed a bit of an exaggeration. Yi Fei really couldn't figure it out, so he simply stopped thinking about it, threw it aside, and returned to the room. Today is indeed very fulfilling, with 4 fights. But more or less, there are some gains. At the same time, in a cave outside Konoha, several large glass containers are bubbling. There is a naked human body in each container, and there is a serial number on the body. Suddenly, the human body with serial number 2 opened his eyes revealed a coldness, and looked around, as if looking for prey. After yesterday's experience, Yi Fei now knows his situation clearly. The useless trio will definitely come back, and those who want to take his life will definitely not give up. As for other things, he doesn't need to care about them now. Go to school peacefully, train hard, and get rid of those who want to take his life. These are what he needs to do now. I really didn't expect so many things to happen yesterday. It was so full that I was a little caught off guard. But it's better than having nothing to do. Yi Fei was walking on the way to school. A new day had begun, and he didn't know what he would experience on this day. Click. He arrived at school, walked to the classroom and pushed the door open. Today was a little different from the past. All the classmates' eyes were on him the moment he walked in. Yi Fei is here. Brother Fei, I want to be your little brother, please teach me to become stronger. Phineas. Some students in the class seemed to be in an uproar. This might be the charm of being strong. No matter where you go, you will be noticed. Yi Fei just smiled lightly, and went straight to his seat without answering, and sat down. At this time, a young man slowly walked towards him. Look, the guy from the Uchiha family is looking for Yi Fei. Yeah, I don't know what he wants to do. It's hard to say, it must be because of what happened yesterday. Uchiha Itachi slowly came to Yi Fei's side. Yi Fei slowly raised his head and looked at the expressionless boy. Why do you want to talk to me? Yi Fei asked. After yesterday's battle, I have regarded you as my lifelong opponent. Of course, this is before I defeat you. Uchiha Itachi looked at Yi Fei calmly and said. Yi Fei nodded with a smile. In his previous life, he always regarded Uchiha Itachi as a legendary man. Now this idol has become his opponent, and he also regards himself as his lifelong opponent. For Yi Fei, this is really a very happy thing. If it weren't for his system, he wouldn't be so casual. What is Uchiha Itachi? He is a man collectively called Itachi God by Naruto fans. The powerful terror behind him. If it weren't for his untimely death, he would definitely dominate one side. No problem, I'm honored to be your opponent. Let me introduce myself again. My name is Yi Fei. Yi Fei stood up and looked at Uchiha Itachi and stretched out his hand. Uchiha Itachi looked down at Yi Fei's hand. Your opponent, Uchiha Itachi. After saying that, he stretched out his hand, and the two of them shook hands very tacitly. A genius of the Uchiha family, a boy called God by Naruto fans. And an ordinary boy whose parents died. Both of them had an idea at this time, to become stronger. When they shook hands, the other people in the class were silent. No one thought that the two of them could reach a consensus. Ding ding ding. The class bell rang, and everyone returned to their seats to prepare for class. Hello students. Today I will introduce you to a new classmate. Come in, Takumura Kurasuke said, and walked to the side from the podium. A few seconds later, a young man walked in from the door. He was well-mannered and wore a pair of glasses. He looked very honest. Yamamoto Kamikawa. Yi Fei recognized the boy immediately after seeing him. They had not met since their last separation, and he did not expect that their next meeting would be like this. Hello everyone, my name is Yamamoto Kamikawa. From today on, I am your partner. Please take care of me in the future. Yamamoto Kamikawa bowed slightly. After introducing himself, the teacher found a seat for him. It was next to Yi Fei. Yamamoto Kamikawa came to Yi Fei and smiled at the familiar face. Yi Fei responded very politely. The class started. This class was very boring for Yi Fei. He was not good at studying, and the school only taught some basics. But for Yi Fei now, these were all kindergarten knowledge. Ah Fei, I'm so lucky. I didn't expect to be assigned to the same class with you. We will be classmates from now on. Please give me more advice. Yamamoto Kamikawa took advantage of the gap and turned to Yi Fei and whispered. Yes, we haven't seen each other since we separated last time. But no matter what, it's really lucky. Yi Fei looked at Yamamoto Kamikawa, who was serious. After what happened last time, Yamamoto Kamikawa had a very good impression of Yi Fei. In his heart, he had already decided that Yi Fei was his target. The two were both bullied before, and it took a lot of luck to be able to get together. How is it, have they bothered you yet? Yi Fei suddenly asked. Yamamoto Shengchuan smiled and shook his head. Don't worry, they didn't look for me. But I can't say for sure in the future. Kogoro and the other three had no intention of dealing with Yamamoto Kamikawa. They still remembered the humiliation Yi Fei had inflicted on them last time and had been thinking of ways to take revenge. How could I possibly look for you? I'm afraid the last incident is not over yet. I really don't know what kind of tricks they will come up with. If a Buddha stands in my way, I will kill him. If a demon stands in my way, I will kill him. Yi Fei looked ahead and thought about something. After a period of slacking off, the class passed quickly. After class, everyone had their own things to do. Yi Fei sat in his seat and talked to Yamamoto Kamikawa next to him. At the same time, Kogoro and the other two stared coldly at Yi Fei and the others. What should I do, boss? The last time, we couldn't just understand. We must find a way to get it back. The crew cut suddenly turned to Kogoro and whispered. At this time, the two brothers were full of anger. They couldn't beat him, so they could only hug his thigh. Kogoro looked at Yi Fei and showed an evil smile. Don't worry, I remember all these grudges. I have informed my eldest brother. He said he will help me teach this kid a lesson after school today. Kogoro crossed his hands in front of his chest and put his legs on the table. Kogoro is a well-known gangster in school. Although his academic performance is not very good, he still has some big brothers in society. What happened last time really made him lose face. The next day, he told his big brother in society about these things. After hearing this, the two younger brothers were full of expectations. They also wanted to see Yi Fei's embarrassment. Yi Fei always felt very unnatural when he spoke. Later, he found out that someone had been staring at him. After careful observation, he found that it was always Kogoro and the other three. It turned out to be them. They must be thinking of a way to take revenge on me. I really regret not beating them up. They've been spoiled by this. They've all become princesses. Yi Fei retracted his gaze and continued chatting. After school, Yi Fei no longer went home alone. Yamamoto Kamikawa insisted on going with Yi Fei. He was used to being alone, and now he was not used to having someone else around. He said a lot but couldn't change his mind, so he finally walked with him. Yamamoto, aren't you in a hurry to go home? I really didn't expect that you would like to make friends so much. You must have a lot of friends. Yi Fei felt very bored walking on the road. Yamamoto Shengchuan shook his head gently. My goal is to become good friends with all my classmates. But I don't know why every time I try to make friends it ends up being a mess. So you are my only friend so far. Yi Fei was successfully shocked by what he said. He is usually a very quiet boy. When we chatted today, I found that he talked a lot. Maybe he is a chatterbox, so he has no friends. So that's how it is. Then I am also very honored to be your first friend. Yi Fei patted his shoulder and laughed. Yamamoto Shengchuan raised his head and his eyes became moist. Ah Fei, you are so nice. It's so relaxing to chat with you today. There is no need to be shy about anything, just speak freely. Yamamoto Kamikawa put his hands together and said very aggrievedly. Yifei couldn't help but twitch his mouth when he saw him. Take that look away, it's disgusting. Oh, by the way, don't call me Yifei anymore. I always feel a little bit disgusting. Yifei pushed him away and shook him off. Yamamoto Shengchuan looked at Yifei and stopped talking, but his eyes were still the same as before. This kind of eyes is really hateful. Anyone who sees it will feel disgusted more or less. But Yifei didn't want to hurt him, and nodded gently after a moment. Okay, Yifei can call me. But if you see this kind of look again in the future, be careful or I won't be polite. Yifei clenched his fist and made a gesture of attacking. Unexpectedly, this time there was another name, Yifei. After hearing these words, Yamamoto Shengchuan instantly put away his aggrieved look, and then nodded with a smile. Unexpectedly, there are still a lot of thoughts. The two walked together again. But they did not go home directly, but came to a more remote place. After all, it was still early and they didn't want to go home. After returning home, they were also very bored and had nothing to do. Bro, that's the kid. You must help me teach him a lesson. 5 or 6 figures appeared behind them. Kogoro whispered to the tattooed elder brother next to him. Don't worry, little brother. As your brother, I will definitely help you get revenge. Just remember to give your brother some benefits when the time comes. The tattooed elder brother patted his shoulder and said with a sly look. Kogoro has a strong family background and doesn't care about the money at all. Now he wants Yifei to pay the price. Looking at Yifei's figure, he thought of Yifei's embarrassed look at that time, and he couldn't hide his smile. Come on, follow them. They are courting death. There are very few people ahead, so it's easy to start. I will definitely give my younger brother a satisfactory answer when the time comes. The tattooed elder brother waved to the younger brothers behind him. After hearing the order, 3 or 4 younger brothers immediately rolled up their sleeves and followed. The Kogoro trio and the tattooed elder brother slowly walked forward. There were almost no people on the remote path. It was very quiet. If they wanted to fight here, no one would know. Xiao Wulong, who was following behind Yifei, had already started to get ready. He was very proud of the thought that he could get back all the humiliation he had suffered before. The tattooed brother was also very strong. But he never did anything good. There aren't many people here. Let's be careful, maybe some robbers will show up suddenly. Yamamoto Kamikawa looked around vigilantly. Don't worry, there's no robbery. But the one who is looking for trouble has already come. Yifei pointed behind him. Yamamoto Kamikawa was a little timid, and he was already scared after hearing what Yifei just said. After seeing his appearance, he couldn't help but smile softly. If this was on the battlefield, he would have become a sitting duck. At this moment, Yifei suddenly stopped. Yamamoto Kamikawa didn't understand what was going on. At this time, he already knew that someone was looking for trouble. If he didn't hurry up and run, would he wait here to be beaten? Yamamoto Kamikawa carefully pulled Yifei's clothes, motioning him to keep going and not stop. Yifei ignored him and turned around. I said you have been following for so long, why don't you take action? Yifei said with a smile as he looked at the few people who stopped in front of him. This wave of actions caught everyone off guard. The tattooed brother looked at Yifei and smiled. Good boy, it seems you have discovered us a long time ago. That's good, then you know why we're here. The tattooed man said with disdain. The first time he saw Yifei, he saw the dawn of victory. Oh, I'm so sorry. I really don't know. Yifei spread his hands indifferently. Hearing this, the tattooed brother smiled disdainfully. The scene was awkward for a while. This was even more so for the tattooed brother. Yifei's operation was even more outrageous. You know this guy, my brother. You beat him up before. I came here today for this purpose. I'll give you 2 choices. The tattooed elder brother pointed at Kogoro and said. Kogoro felt that this elder brother was very reliable. Now that he had a strong backing, he was no longer afraid of Yifei. Yifei smiled. Tell me about it. The tattooed man strode to the front. First, kneel down and kowtow 3 times, and I will let you go. Pay my brother protection money every day. Second, I'll cripple one of your arms, apologize to my brother, and that's it. The tattooed elder brother lowered his head and looked at Yi Fei with disdain. These two choices are undoubtedly challenging Yi Fei's bottom line. And neither of the two choices is good. Option A. Reject the tattooed man, completion reward, water style, water dragon bullet. Option B. Agree to the tattooed man's request, and the reward is substitution technique. Option C. Reject the tattooed man and become his younger brother. Completion reward. Random attribute point +1. The tattooed man saw that Yi Fei did not answer, and a smile appeared on his face. Yi Fei was thinking about the task. Yi Fei's attention was all on the options, so he didn't pay any attention to the tattooed man. The substitution technique is indeed useful, but it is impossible for Yi Fei to agree. Water escape. Yi Fei does not have it yet. If he has this ninjutsu, his combat power will increase a lot. Now, the choice is very clear. Sorry, I don't think these are what I want. And today I just happen to be itching to use you to relieve the itch and have fun. Yi Fei raised his head and looked at the tattooed brother. The option task is completed and the rewards are being merged. Hidden quest. Destroy both arms of the tattooed man. Completion reward. Water escape. Water blade / modified. This is the first time a hidden mission has appeared, and it's been modified. It must be something special, you must get it. Yi Fei's words shocked everyone present. The tattooed brother thought that with so many people around, Yi Fei was just an ordinary kid. Such an answer was completely beyond his expectations. There were many such things in the past, but after seeing the tattooed brother, those kids would be obedient. Hee. Well, if that's the case, then I won't say anything more. One of his hands must be crippled today. The tattooed elder brother raised his head and laughed a few times. He originally wanted to scare Yi Fei and make him obedient. The tattooed elder brother walked back and greeted his younger brothers. These younger brothers were also very obedient. They all took out their weapons and walked towards Yi Fei with a smile. Yamamoto Kamikawa had never seen such a scene before. Seeing so many people, his legs were shaking with fear. Yi Fei was different. He was not panicked at all when facing these people. He stood there and wanted to see what these people were going to do. The two younger brothers suddenly quickened their pace and rushed up with weapons. It seems that they underestimated Yi Fei when they confronted him head-on. The tattooed elder brother was also very relieved. He turned his back to Yi Fei and thought that he didn't need to make a move and his younger brothers could solve it. But the results are always unexpected. Bang! Suddenly, there was a sound of flying from behind the tattooed elder brother. I saw a younger brother flew in front of him, spitting blood from his mouth. It was all because of Yi Fei. Just now, he came in front of the younger brothers in an instant, and everyone was hit by 2 punches. This attack directly smashed their internal organs into a ball. What? The tattooed elder brother was surprised. He turned around and saw Yi Fei holding a younger brother's head. His face was very swollen and covered with bruises. If you don't look carefully, it's hard to tell who it is. Is this all your strength? I don't know where you get your confidence from. Yi Fei loosened his head and slowly lay down. Just when he was about to lie on the ground, he suddenly kicked the pig-headed brother to the side. The 3 brothers were all killed instantly, and 3 of them were seriously injured. Xiao Wulong witnessed the whole process, which was very cruel. Yi Fei did not make any unnecessary movements, and the 3 men did not have any resistance. Waste, garbage, did I raise you all in vain? The tattooed elder brother was extremely angry, and veins popped out on his forehead. He didn't expect that a child could kill 3 people in a second. Yi Fei looked at the exasperated tattooed elder brother and smiled. That's it, you are here to be my sparring partner, right? Yi Fei said to the tattooed elder brother. Yamamoto Kamikawa looked at Yi Fei with envy in his eyes, and his legs stopped shaking. Seeing that all his younger brothers were defeated, the tattooed elder brother had no choice but to do it himself. He knew the strength of his younger brothers. In this situation, the tattooed elder brother also felt that the kid in front of him was not simple. Yi Fei did not wait any longer, raised his foot and rushed up, as fast as a cheetah. Do you think I'm the same as them? Let me teach you a lesson. Facing the rushing Yi Fei, the tattooed elder brother didn't take it seriously and smiled faintly. He took out his big knife, raised it into the air, and chopped it down. Kogoro and the other 2 had already hidden to the side at this time, in order to avoid being hurt. Yi Fei could feel how powerful the knife was, but his speed was too fast and there was no way to dodge it. He could only face it head-on. Head-on fight. It seems that he has lived enough. Swoosh. A short knife and a big knife scraped together, and sparks flew. Yi Fei instantly felt a huge force coming, but fortunately, he had super intensive training before. He took the attack steadily. Boy, not bad. You can block my knife. Taoist brother took advantage of Yi Fei's inattention and kicked him, sending him flying. Taking advantage of the gap, he raised his knife and chopped again. After landing, Yi Fei looked at the oncoming blade and instantly formed a seal. Water escape. Water bullet. A series of water balls came out of Yi Fei's mouth and attacked the tattooed man. The tattooed man was quite capable. He flipped his sword over in the air and blocked all the water bullets. Ding ding dang dang. The water bullets left obvious marks on the blade. Your moves are quite unusual, the tattooed brother said, looking at the small pits on the blade. This is called learning and using now. How can you know if a new ninjutsu is useful or not if you don't try it? Yi Fei didn't rest. While the tattooed brother was distracted, he picked up his weapon and attacked again. In the blink of an eye, he had rushed in front of the tattooed brother. He put away the knife, thrust forward, and a white light flashed. Yi Fei watched his knife approaching the tattooed brother. Bang! With a crisp sound, the tattooed brother's knife instantly appeared in front of him, blocking Yi Fei's attack. What? Because the speed was too fast, even Yi Fei didn't notice when his knife appeared. The tattooed brother swung hard and bounced Yi Fei away again. After the bounce, the tattooed brother looked at Yi Fei and let out a sly smile. Yi Fei frowned. Without waiting, he formed seals with his hands and summoned an avatar that was exactly the same as himself. Attack! He rushed towards the tattooed brother together with the avatar. This time the tattooed brother didn't wait and started to attack head-on. In the blink of an eye, the three of them wrestled together. Although the big knife was heavy, it was as easy to use as a small knife in the hands of the tattooed brother. The fight between the two made others stunned. Yi Fei, as their classmate, could fight on par with a social person. They were very surprised, and this was when they felt the gap. It's not a solution to continue like this. Yi Fei realized the problem while fighting. How is it possible? At the same time, the tattooed brother's attack slowed down. Yi Fei also caught this point. It seems to be a paper tiger. Such a heavy knife requires physical strength no matter how well you use it. Yi Fei smiled and suddenly withdrew. The shadow clone also disappeared. In order to hide, the tattooed brother deliberately breathed through his mouth to cover up his excessive physical consumption. The two did not take action at this time, but Yi Fei secretly took out a detonating talisman from his backpack. This thing is really useful, but it's too expensive. It's a bit of a waste to use it on you. Yi Fei sizzled a few times. Flying Thunder God technique. He disappeared instantly. In a breath, he appeared behind the tattooed elder brother. The speed was too fast, and the tattooed elder brother didn't even notice it. Brother, be careful behind you. Xiaogoro on the side shouted loudly when he saw the situation was not good. Yi Fei cursed in his heart, I'll deal with you later. When the tattooed brother felt Yi Fei behind him, it was too late. Yi Fei slapped him hard, and the detonating talisman stuck firmly behind him. After the success, he instantly came to the opposite side of him. Boy, are you tickling me? The tattooed brother laughed. Yi Fei smiled and then detonated the detonator. Bang! An explosion sounded, smoke rose, and flames splashed. Puff! The tattooed brother spurted out a mouthful of blood. It's over, social man. Before the smoke cleared, Yi Fei rushed up. He kicked him to the ground, then stepped on his back and pulled his arms back. Let me teach you how to be a man. After saying that, Yi Fei opened his arms left and right and broke his two arms. Ah! A scream disappeared along with the dispersing smoke. The scream just now made Xiaoguro and others worried. They didn't know whether it was Yi Fei's scream or the tattooed big brother's. When the smoke dissipated, everyone saw the situation inside. Yi Fei stood aside, and the tattooed big brother fell to the ground and twitched. His arm had become like a twist, which was horrible. Xiaoguro and others were instantly scared. Such a scene was really scary. Yi Fei moved his arms and watched Xiaoguro and others walk away slowly. The sweat of the three people instantly came out and flowed down. As if they saw the god of death, they tried their best to retreat to the back. Unexpectedly, they didn't stand firmly, and the three people sat on the ground very tacitly. Even so, they still moved to the back. They witnessed Yi Fei's horror with their own eyes. Yi Fei looked at the three of them, feeling a bit amused. He had done whatever he wanted before, but now he had fallen to this point. He shook his head slightly, then took out a kunai from his backpack. With a flick of his wrist, he fired it out instantly. Whoosh! The kunai pierced the inside of Kogoro's legs firmly. Oops, my hands are shaking. Next time I will aim. Yi Fei came in front of him and stared at him coldly. Kogoro looked at the kunai between his legs, cold sweat broke out instantly, and his legs kept shaking. Bro, I was wrong. Spare me. Xiao Wulong crawled to Yi Fei and begged. The other two brothers now knew how terrifying Yi Fei was and hurried to him. I really didn't expect that the last time I let you go, you would find someone to beat me up the next day. It seems you are tired of living. If that's the case, I can help you understand your life. Yi Fei took out a kunai again and turned it in his hand. The three people swallowed their saliva tacitly. They knew that the current situation was very dangerous. If they said the wrong thing, they might die here. Plop. The three people knelt on the ground almost at the same time. I'm really sorry. I promise there won't be a next time. I won't do these things anymore. I will do everything I can to compensate you, no matter how much money it is, I will promise you. Kogoro said pitifully. Yi Fei shook his head impatiently when he heard this. Then, he kicked him to the ground. Do you think I'm short of money? And this is not the first or second time. Don't forget that you bullied me for more than a year. Do we have to settle this matter like last time? Yi Fei half knelt down, then looked at him and said with a smile. Between money and dignity, Yi Fei chose the latter. He had lived under their bullying for more than a year. If he settled this matter now, it would be too easy for them. Then, Kogoro couldn't think of any other solution except to use money. Snap! A crisp slapping sound came. Half of Kogoro's face swelled up instantly. There is really no way for you to change it. Today, I will break one of your arms. Just consider it as compensation for all this time. Yi Fei stood up, then put the weapon into his backpack and looked at them. The three people were instantly scared after hearing these words. They knew that Yi Fei could do such a thing. They stretched the muscles of their wrists and prepared to start. At this time, they realized something very scary. They crawled back desperately. Want to run? There is no way. Yi Fei instantly disappeared from the spot and appeared behind Kogoro. He kicked him to the ground, then stepped on his back and grabbed one of his arms. Crack! Ah! The sound of broken bones came out, accompanied by a cry of pain. Kogoro's arm was broken, and the whole person's expression was very painful. He curled up on the ground holding his arm and twitching. The other two brothers were not much better. All of them had an arm broken by Yi Fei. This way, it can be regarded as a draw. This time they have seen how powerful I am. I guess they will not dare to take revenge easily in the future. I'll let you go this time. If there is a next time, I promise to leave you an intact body. Yi Fei looked at the three people and said in a low voice. After dealing with these things, he turned around and walked to the side of Yamamoto Kamikawa. This time, Yamamoto Kamikawa refreshed his worldview. The two walked together. Yamamoto Shengchuan looked at Yi Fei with a smile on his face, and he also felt a sense of awe in his heart. He was helping him both times, especially this time, his strength was completely beyond his imagination. Hooligan. Yamamoto Shengchuan stopped. Yi Fei looked at him and nodded slightly. I know what you wanna say. Those words are unnecessary. Yi Fei spread his hands indifferently and said. Yamamoto Shengchuan shook his head desperately. Then he retreated a little and bent his body forward 90 degrees. Thank you. It was with your help that I was able to avoid being bullied by them both times. I'm really glad to meet you as a friend. This series of actions caught Yi Fei off guard. I thought he was going to say something sentimental, but what this kid did was really unexpected. Okay, get up quickly. You said it yourself, we are friends. These are things I should do. And you are also my first friend. Yi Fei hurriedly stepped forward and helped him up. The two smiled at each other at this time. No one can say for sure about feelings. Maybe it's because of a certain thing, maybe it's because of some worries. But no matter what, after these two experiences, the feelings between the two of them have increased a lot again. But in Yamamoto Kamikawa's heart, Yifei has long become his idol and also his goal. In a dark place in Konoha village. This is the specific situation. A ninja wearing a mask is reporting to a man with half his face covered. Yifei, haha, interesting. It's been such a long time, I didn't expect such a person to suddenly appear. Such a person can be contacted, maybe he has some value. The man with half face said darkly and lowly. The expression of this man with half face was very serious, giving people a dark feeling. With his hands crossed in his sleeves, he stared coldly at the front, as if thinking about something. This person was none other than the leader of Konoha Root, Shimura Danzo, who had great power in Konoha. After returning home, Yifei felt that his body had been hollowed out. This was the first time he had fought for such a long time. Although there have been countless occasions, he still felt a little tired. He didn't even take off his clothes and lay down on the bed to rest. After resting for a while, he heard his stomach growling. Stop yelling, I'll get you something to eat now. Yifei stood up lazily, then went to the kitchen and started working. After filling his stomach, he leaned back in the chair and looked up at the ceiling. This kind of life now is really very comfortable. But Yifei always feels very uneasy. After all, he has been very outstanding in the past 2 days, whether in school or in the battle outside. It will definitely spread everywhere. In this way, there will always be some people who are planning to take advantage of him. He was so upset that he couldn't stay at home any longer. Seeing that it was still early outside, he decided to go out for a walk to relax. He simply tidied up the house and walked out of the house. After breathing the air outside, his body was indeed much more relaxed. But at this moment, a man wearing a ninja costume and a mask suddenly appeared in front of him. Yifei, isn't that right? The masked man suddenly asked. Yifei didn't understand what was going on, and then nodded. That's good. The third Hokage invites you. Please follow me. The masked man made a gesture to move forward. Yifei was caught off guard by the sudden news. The third Hokage, you are not mistaken, are you? Yifei felt very incredible. He was just a very ordinary child. Except for the high-profile actions in the past 2 days, he did not do anything else at all. The masked man confirmed it again and nodded after confirming that it was correct. Yifei now had no idea why the third Hokage was looking for him. But if he didn't go, there was a high possibility of an accident. After a moment, he slowly raised his foot and walked forward. Konoha was in a war period at this time, and the other side also had several. Not only were resources tight, but talents were even more tight. Yifei's actions in the past 2 days were indeed very high profile. It was precisely because of this that the Konoha high-level officials noticed him. In such a special period, talents emerged in large numbers. But the only special ones are Kakashi, Uchiha Shisui, Namikaze Minato, etc. It's rare to see such a genius. How could the third Hokage not want to meet him? Yifei also thought of many possibilities along the way. This is the most likely one. But Yifei is now a hot commodity. Everyone wants to meet him, and even more wants to pull him to their side. Among them, the Uchiha clan wants to meet him the most. After all, how could the family not care after Kogoro was bullied? Under the leadership of the masked man, they soon arrived in front of the Hokage office building. At this time, he had already prepared himself mentally. After all, what should be faced will be faced sooner or later. Who made him so high profile these 2 days, it's hard not to be discovered. Lord Hokage, Yifei is here. The masked man knocked on the door twice and said, "Thank you for your hard work. Please come in." The deep voice of the third Hokage came from the room. After getting the permission from the third Hokage, Yifei pushed the door open and walked in. The masked man just now disappeared instantly. It really deserves to be called Anbu, the speed is so fast. Yifei sighed. After entering, Yifei saw an old man, but he was not too old. The third Hokage was at his peak at this time, and he looked very majestic. "Hello, Lord Hokage." Yifei bowed politely while speaking. As expected of a Hokage, Yifei felt very pressured now. This feeling was somewhat indescribable, but it was just uncomfortable. There was no way around it, because Yi Fei was a nobody. Don't be so polite. Come and sit down. Relax, it's not good to be nervous from the moment you enter the door. The words of the third Hokage surprised Yi Fei. At this time, the third Hokage also looked up and down. Then he showed a charming smile. It was precisely because of this smile that Yi Fei felt even more uncomfortable. Yi Fei, right, very good, I really can't tell your strength just from your appearance. The third Hokage carefully observed Yi Fei. Yi Fei really didn't know what to say at this time. This was the first time he met a high-ranking figure of the Hokage, let alone the Hokage. The atmosphere around him instantly became very awkward. Ha ha ha, such an awkward atmosphere was instantly broken by the laughter of the third Hokage. Don't be so nervous. In fact, there is nothing particularly important, I just want to chat with you. The third generation looked at Yi Fei so nervous, and then said. Yi Fei exhaled, then nodded and smiled. Yi Fei now had a good guess about the reason why he came here. Strong strength can never be hidden. It's fun to attack for a while, and it's fun to keep attacking. Yi Fei, what do you think of the will of fire? The third Hokage stared at Yi Fei, and the air pressure around him became tense. Yi Fei instantly felt a sense of oppression. At this time, he was not strong, and such pressure was still a little difficult for him to bear. Conqueror's Haki. 1 minute later, Yi Fei could no longer hold on and released Conqueror's Haki directly. As soon as Conqueror's Haki came out, Yi Fei instantly felt a lot more relaxed. The third Hokage also felt a powerful force fighting against him. Haha, this kid is interesting. The third Hokage thought to himself with a smile. For an ordinary child to have such an aura, he is undoubtedly a genius. Don't be nervous, I just want to hear your thoughts. As he spoke, the pressure that had just been released disappeared. Yi Fei felt that the pressure disappeared and he also cancelled the domineering color. For such a question, Yi Fei dared not answer. The will of fire is a selfless spirit, and I understand this to a certain extent. The will of fire hopes that there will be no barriers between the tribes in the village, and that they will work together for the village. It requires that every person in every tribe not only sacrifice for the benefit of their own tribe, but also put the overall situation first and work for the village. Protect the fellow villagers. Everyone in the village is a family. There will be no hierarchy between people because of powerful clans and ordinary clans. Yi Fei spoke eloquently based on his past life memories. When these words came out, the third Hokage was stunned. For a child to understand so thoroughly now, there must be some reason. Is this your understanding? The third Hokage was a little uneasy. Yi Fei nodded. He originally thought of not saying these things and just making them up. But thinking of the memories he had obtained before, he decided to say it out. The third Hokage looked at Yi Fei as if he saw hope. This understanding is indeed the most correct. For a 6 or 7-year-old child to have such an understanding is undoubtedly the greatest help to Konoha. Hokage, this is my understanding. I don't know, right? Yi Fei pretended to be stupid. The third Hokage nodded happily. I really didn't expect that your understanding is like this. It's really beyond my expectation. It's really not easy for you at your age. The third Hokage said with a smile. Yi Fei nodded with a smile on his face. Absolutely. Don't you even look at who I am. I can tell you everything about your world. Yi Fei thought to himself. Looking at the confident young man in front of him, the third Hokage couldn't help but feel happy. It is already very difficult. If such a talent suddenly appears, we must win him over. According to your current ability, you should not be able to learn new knowledge in school. If I continue to stay in school, I will definitely not learn much knowledge. I want to hear your next plan. The third Hokage looked at Yi Fei very kindly. Yi Fei smiled lightly. He now understood exactly what this old man was planning. In fact, I am also quite confused, and I still want to hear the Hokage's advice. Yi Fei said calmly. For example, joining the Anbu. Going out on a mission. These are things you can't learn in school. For you, it is really a very good choice. The third Hokage said calmly. But aren't only the elite allowed to join the Anbu? I am just an ordinary teenager now, and I don't seem to be a formal ninja yet. Yi Fei showed an innocent smile. There is really no need to stay in school now. And there are fewer options recently. Yi Fei also thought that there are not so many options in this place. Joining the Anbu is indeed very good news for him. None of this matters. I now grant you early graduation and join the Anbu. According to your current talent, you can get good training in the Anbu. This is also very good for you. The third Hokage looked at Yi Fei and smiled. In fact, this idea was also forced. The world is now a war period, and most of the elites in the village have gone to fight. But after all, the combat effectiveness is not very strong, and it must be increased. Only in this way can we fight with other places. Oh, is this okay? Well, we can still give it a try. Yi Fei pretended to be calm, but revealed a hint of nervousness and worry. Actually, you can reconsider it. I won't force you, but you have to know that entering the dark, but it's not so free anymore. And if you join the Anbu, you can't quit automatically unless there is something special. If you really want to try it, I can give you some time to think about it. The third Hokage could see that Yi Fei was a little worried. Then let's make it a deal. I'll give you 2 days to think about it. If you are considering joining, come find me here in 2 days. If you don't want to join, you can continue to study in school. The third Hokage lit a cigarette, took a puff and looked at Yi Fei. This kind of thing is indeed envied by many people, and it is also what many people hope for. Yi Fei pretended to think for a while, then nodded. Okay, I understand, Hokage-sama. I will give you an answer in 2 days. Yi Fei breathed a sigh of relief and said. The third Hokage smiled and nodded after hearing what he just said. If there is nothing else, I will leave first. Yi Fei stood up. The third Hokage nodded. Yi Fei bowed and slowly left the room. The third Hokage turned his head to look out the window and smoked. This child is not simple. To be able to have such an understanding at this age, it must be because of a lot of things that I have experienced. If you train him well in the future, he will definitely become a legend. Yi Fei walked out of the Hokage office building and came to the main road. I didn't expect something like this to happen. Think carefully, this is the better choice. There is really nothing to learn in school. Besides, you don't need to learn anything. Ha. Yi Fei looked at the busy road, then smiled up at the sky. These things were not a big problem for him. No matter where he was, he could get good development. It's just that there are fewer and fewer choices in some places now. This also proves that this place is not of much help to him. If you want to get stronger quickly, you have to keep trying new methods. Yi Fei loosened his muscles and bones, and then walked on the street. At this time, the sky had become dim. At the same time, a ninja wearing a fox mask disappeared on the treetops. Yi Fei just came out of the Hokage's office, and he looked very relaxed. I don't know what they talked about specifically. Ninjutsu knelt on one knee and reported what had just happened. Danzo closed his eyes and didn't speak, as if he was thinking about something. Looks like we need to hurry up and act. The next day, Yi Fei got up early, washed up, and came to the yard. Today the weather was very sunny and very suitable for rest. Yi Fei moved a large chair from the room and placed it in the yard. What a rare day off. This time is really wonderful. Yi Fei said softly while lying on the chair with his eyes closed. He was very relaxed and leisurely. He didn't care too much about what happened yesterday. After all, life is everywhere, and changing places may lead to better development. The third generation old man is really cunning. There is absolutely no reason for me to refuse what you said. Yi Fei slowly opened his eyes and sat up, then said in a low voice. It seems that there is really no need to stay in school. Let's go play in the Anbu. But if I join the Anbu now, I will definitely be sent to the battlefield. It seems that the old man is because of this reason. Yi Fei sorted out the whole thing. There was no omission in the whole process, which also gave him the current understanding. Only this understanding can explain what happened. It's rare, being strong is really a double-edged sword. There are good and bad things. Yi Fei once again lay on the chair and looked at it and said in a low voice. Dong dong dong. There was a slow knock on the door. Who is it? It's a rare day off, and someone actually comes to disturb me. Yi Fei frowned slightly and said. There was no sound outside the door, so he didn't take it seriously and continued to close his eyes and rest. Knock, knock, knock. A few seconds later, the knock on the door sounded again. Depend on. Come on, Come on, stop knocking. Yi Fei was somewhat helpless. He stood up lazily and walked towards the door. Weasel, why is it you? Oh no, why are you here? Pushing the door open, Yi Fei found that the person standing outside was Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi did not speak, but just stood there and looked at him. Come in first. Yi Fei was a little helpless, but finally invited him into his home. After Uchiha Itachi came in, he looked around. This was his first time to come to Yi Fei's home. Itachi, you came to see me, what's the matter? Yi Fei moved a chair from the room and placed it next to him. Uchiha Itachi nodded. I came here today to challenge you. Yi Fei scratched his ears with his hands, feeling a little unbelievable. Challenge me? Are you kidding me? Yi Fei said in surprise. Uchiha Itachi nodded. I've been training hard since the last time you beat me. And I also said that I will regard you as my lifelong opponent. But I still feel it is not appropriate, so I want to challenge you again. Uchiha Itachi looked at Yi Fei very seriously and said. Yi Fei was made to laugh and cry by Uchiha Itachi. He knew what kind of person he was, but he didn't expect him to be so stubborn. It's no wonder that a man known as a genius was suddenly defeated by an unknown boy. Such a conception is not allowed by Uchiha Itachi. Seeing that he was so determined, Yi Fei could only nod his head. Sure, no problem. You are also my friend, and friends should help each other. Yi Fei looked at Uchiha Itachi and said with a smile. Uchiha Itachi nodded with satisfaction after hearing his answer. Then, Uchiha Itachi immediately took an offensive posture. Please, my God, what are you doing? Don't we have to start now? Brother, please figure it out. I haven't eaten yet. Yi Fei waved his hand helplessly. Uchiha Itachi hesitated for a moment, but finally put his hand down. Okay, I'll wait for you here, hurry up and eat. We'll start after dinner. Yi Fei looked at Uchiha Itachi and felt a little ridiculous. It would be strange if such a persistent person did not become stronger. Okay, you sit here and wait for me. After saying that, Yi Fei walked into the kitchen. After a while, he brought out some food. Uchiha Itachi looked at Yi Fei, who sat next to him, and blinked. Are you usually alone at home? Uchiha Itachi asked curiously. Yi Fei slurped a mouthful of noodles and nodded. My parents are no longer alive, and I don't have any relatives. Now I live alone, Yi Fei said while chewing noodles. Uchiha Itachi didn't say anything after hearing this, as if he had done something wrong. It's okay, I'm used to it. Yi Fei saw that Uchiha Itachi was a little embarrassed. Uchiha Itachi nodded gently. Just like that, the two of them sat together without saying much. Yi Fei quickly finished all the food he made. He had been alone for so long, and he also knew how to save food. Bang! So cool. Yi Fei put the bowl on the stool with force and showed a satisfied smile. Uchiha Itachi suddenly stood up and walked in front of him. Since you are full, let's get started. Yi Fei looked at Uchiha Itachi's mouth twitching slightly. Although he was full, he should at least take a break. But he didn't expect Uchiha Itachi to be such a person. He felt a little cute. Option A. Accept Uchiha Itachi's challenge, and the reward for completing it is, win style, vacuum jade, win style, vacuum jade. Option B. Reject Uchiha Itachi's challenge and say that he will definitely agree to it next time. Completion reward. Strength attribute points +5. This sudden option made Yi Fei feel very happy. The reward of option A was really too domineering. He could get 2 ninjutsu at once. This was like a timely help for him. Choosing A was a sure thing. Yi Fei stood up slowly and looked at Uchiha Itachi. I promise you, let's start now. The venue is right here, so there is no need to run around everywhere. Yi Fei looked around his house and said with a smile. Uchiha Itachi was instantly much happier after hearing the news. Mission completed. Reward, win style, vacuum jade, win style, vacuum jade is being integrated. Yi Fei looked at the prompt of the system in his mind, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised. What he lacks most now is this kind of offensive ninjutsu. If he can learn a few more, it will definitely be of great help to him when he participates in the battle. Looking at the very serious Uchiha Itachi in front of him, Yi Fei also became attentive. The last time he defeated Uchiha Itachi, Yi Fei always felt that he was a little lucky, but this time was different. If he didn't show some real strength, he would probably be defeated. It's time to go. Uchiha Itachi looked at Yifei and said. Yifei smiled and nodded. Now he was fully prepared. In an instant, Uchiha Itachi disappeared and came in front of Yifei. As soon as he appeared, a heavy punch came. Very fast, even faster than last time. Yifei was instantly much more awake, and hurriedly dodged left and right. The wind from the heavy punch moved Yifei's hair. But dodging all the time was not a solution. While dodging, Yifei carefully observed that Uchiha Itachi had a big flaw below. Finding a good opportunity, he dodged a heavy punch, kicked instantly, and hit Uchiha Itachi in the stomach. Then he kicked hard, widening the gap between the two. Itachi, remember to defend below as well. Uchiha Itachi nodded humbly, as he had indeed neglected this point just now. Without waiting for Uchiha Itachi to make a move, Yifei took the lead in launching an attack. This time he did not hold back his strength. He rushed to him and instantly threw 4 or 5 punches. Because it was the first time he knew Uchiha Itachi, he had been training during this period, so he did not dare to take it lightly. Bang bang bang. Uchiha Itachi's reaction ability was also very strong, and he responded instantly in such a short time. The fists of the two collided with each other. The fists of both of them have now turned red. Although they have felt severe pain, they both smiled. It is really not easy to find someone with the same strength as yourself. Of course, this also refers to geniuses. Be careful. Yifei suddenly reminded him. In an instant, the car reached the back, and then took out several kunai and started firing forward. The speed was very fast, and 10 kunai were fired in less than 2 seconds. Uchiha Itachi reacted quickly, took out his short knife, and began to block. Ding ding dang dang. The sound of the weapons colliding was very crisp. But at this time, Uchiha Itachi also found something different. Each kunai was very powerful. After Uchiha Itachi knocked down all 10 kunai, he found that there were obvious marks on his blade. I didn't expect the power to be so great. It seems I still need to work harder. Uchiha Itachi put away his short sword and instantly jumped into the air. Fire style. Great fireball technique. The speed of forming seals with both hands was so fast that it took only a few seconds to complete the seals. He took a deep breath and exhaled instantly. A very large fireball flew towards Yifei. Here comes this trick again. Yifei frowned slightly as he looked at the oncoming fireball. Yifei had no tricks to resist now, so he could only retreat to the side. Bang! The fireball exploded instantly when it hit the ground. A burnt pit appeared on the ground. Yifei looked at Uchiha Itachi, who landed steadily on the ground. I'm asking you, kid, do you want to tear down my house? In that case, I won't be polite. Yifei looked at Uchiha Itachi and smiled. He made a seal with both hands. Wind style. Vacuum ball. This was the first time Yifei used this move. Although he didn't need to practice, he still wanted to see its power. Chakra quickly gathered in his mouth. Whoosh. As Yifei exhaled, the chakra in his mouth turned into many wind-style light waves, and flew quickly towards Uchiha Itachi. Bang, bang, bang. Yifei was now like a machine gun, spitting bullets desperately. One light wave after another flew towards Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi began to shuttle back and forth between these light waves. Large and small traces also appeared on the wall and land behind him. After Yifei spit out all the chakra in his mouth, he closed his mouth. No, I think it's quite useful. It's just a bit of a mouthful. Yifei rubbed his mouth and said in a low voice. Uchiha Itachi had already used up most of his physical strength because of the back and forth shuttle. It seems that you really didn't use all your strength last time. After taking a few breaths of air, he looked at Yifei and smiled. Yifei shook his head very modestly. After a few simple words, the two of them fought again and fought together. Both of them suffered different degrees of injuries. Although it was painful, they were very happy at this time. Physical strength also quietly passed away with time. After more than an hour of continuous fighting, the two of them finally ended in exhaustion. The two men came to the end after being exhausted, and sat down on the chairs. They felt very tired, and no one wanted to continue fighting. Ha 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 ha. Uchiha Itachi suddenly laughed out loud. What are you laughing at? Are you crazy? Yifei was shocked by his sudden action. No, I just feel very happy and refreshed. I think you should know that there are almost no people of our age who can be as strong as me. It's been so long, it's really not easy to find someone who can fight with me. Uchiha Itachi turned to look at Yifei and explained. Yifei smiled awkwardly. He is really a madman. The two of them kept silent again. No one spoke. In fact, I am also very happy. After these 2 days, we should be considered friends. Yifei turned his head and looked at Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi nodded. My friend, but in my heart you have another name. Oh, what is it? As an opponent, after these 2 battles, I felt extremely happy. Just like me and Shisui. Yifei nodded with a smile. This situation is what Yifei wanted very much. Uchiha Itachi is a very strange person. It is not easy to be friends with him. To celebrate our friendship, how about going out for dinner together? Yifei sat up suddenly and turned to look at him. Uchiha Itachi sat up slowly and nodded. The two stood up from their chairs at the same time in tacit understanding. Yifei did not clean up the house, but walked out of the house with him and came to the street. More than an hour of fighting had already made them very hungry. This was very physically demanding. After coming to the street, Yifei put his hands in his pockets and walked on the road, looking at the situation on both sides. So comfortable. Yifei stretched his muscles. Uchiha Itachi looked at the street and nodded. I found that it is very good to go out for a walk if there is nothing to do. It always gives me a very relaxed feeling. Uchiha Itachi breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile. Yifei nodded. After a period of searching, they finally decided to eat meatballs. Fish balls are also one of Yifei's favorite foods. Since becoming an orphan, he rarely eats at home. After all, it is too boring to eat alone at home in a deserted house. Every restaurant in the streets and alleys has become a place he often hangs out. After the two came to the place where fish balls were sold, they walked to a corner together. Where are we going after dinner? Yifei asked while waiting for Wanzi. I don't know, let's talk about it later. In fact, I seldom go out. How about you recommend a place? Uchiha Itachi said, looking around. Yifei shook his head. Okay then, let's eat first. I don't know where is better. Let's talk about it later. So the two of them waited here for a while. The things they wanted were now all in front of them. After finishing their meal, the two of them walked on the street, each with a bulging stomach. It's so comfortable. After exercise and having a full meal, this feeling is really the most wonderful moment in life. Yifei touched his stomach and smiled. Uchiha Itachi's reaction was different from his, and he didn't make too many movements. Although his stomach was exactly the same as Yifei's. Time passed in the blink of an eye. Yifei did not do anything else in the past 2 days. He stayed at home without going out. Soon it was the time he and the third Hokage had agreed to meet. I finally waited for this moment. Go give him your answer now. Maybe the old man is looking at me with a glass ball now. Yifei sat in the living room and scratched his head. In fact, he had already figured out the answer. He didn't say it for such a long time because he wanted to give the third Hokage a hypothesis to think about. After all, he was just a child. If he agreed to it at that time, it would be too hasty. He packed his things and walked out of the house with his backpack. It's almost graduation time. It seems that I will have to meet all kinds of people in the future. Yifei felt helpless. In the original world, he was a person who didn't like socializing. Now he was forced to go through this process. But no matter what, there are pros and cons. Being able to go to different places and meet different people. In this way, he can get more selection tasks. Only in this way can he quickly become stronger. Yifei walked slowly on the road, walking towards the Hokage office building. Suddenly, a man wearing a fox mask appeared in front of him. Who is it? Yifei asked cautiously, looking at the person who suddenly appeared. They were both wearing masks, but the person in front of him had a red tree root symbol on his arm. After seeing this symbol, he instantly understood that this person was the root of Shimura Danzo. Yifei, Master Danzo asks you to come over. The Anbu ninja looked at him and said, in this place where no one cares about anyone, there is no name, no feelings, no past, no future. There is only a mission in mind. Okay, please lead the way. Yifei answered without hesitation. This wave of operations did not surprise Yi Fei. He was already quite outstanding, not to mention that Shimura Danzo was a very scheming person. He did not want to miss this talent. Follow me, the Anbu ninja said, and turned around in an instant, walking forward regardless of anything. Yi Fei felt very awkward watching this man's behavior. It seemed that his strength was not worth mentioning in his eyes. He just left the back to him, and he was not afraid that he would escape. Yi Fei was a little helpless, but he finally followed. Yi Fei brought it here. The Anbu ninja knelt on one leg on the ground, looking at the pineapple-headed man in front of him and said respectfully. The route was very empty and the space was very large. Back off, Shimura Danzo, who was hiding in the dark, said in a low voice. After that, the ninja who had led the way just now disappeared instantly. Yi Fei saw Shimura Danzo standing in the dark through a little light. This place was heavily guarded and the light was very dim. Yi Fei knew that he couldn't talk casually in this place, and he had to behave himself. If he said something wrong, he might get killed. Hello, Master Danzo. I wonder what you want to talk to me about today. Yi Fei looked at Shimura Danzo and said respectfully. Yi Fei, are you willing to join my route, be loyal to Konoha, and protect Konoha? Shimura Danzo did not beat around the bush and directly expressed his thoughts. His voice was very strong, giving people a strong sense of oppression. Yi Fei could feel the pressure just by his voice. His voice seemed to have a magical power. After hearing it, people could feel an inexplicable pressure. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.